Hello, you're here with T.
And Matthew.
And Ty.
And we are the Bing Zang Zoom podcast. Can you dig it? So today, we got a couple topics. One's gonna be the tax collector, right? Have y'all seen this movie with Shia LaBeouf?
I actually have not.
I have not.
Okay, all right. Well, you definitely should go see it because I mean it's getting all these rave reviews, and LA Times even said that it's the most atrocious viewing experience of the year. So definitely got to check
Yeah,
that
let's
out.
go see it.
The most atrocious. It's hey, but I saw it, and I don't really have too much else to judge it by, but standalone, it was alright. It wasn't the worst movie like they're
So
saying. Not.
wait, this is the first movie you've ever seen? You said you have nothing else to judge by. This is the first movie you've ever seen?
No, but for this year, there's not a lot in that genre that I've watched, so I can't like compare it. So like, but in terms of what the actual movie was about, it was just a bang bang shoot 'em up. It's for guys to go see some action that we've been missing for this year, basically. Um, but like, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of depth to the story. It's basically Shia LaBeouf and this guy Bobby Soto. They are um enforcers for a kingpin, basically, or basically Bobby Soto's uncle, right? Who is the famous comedian, Mexican comedian. I'm forgetting his name right now. George something. Say again.
Oh.
Oh, it's
So
George.
was it Cheech and
Anyway,
Chong?
no, not him. Not no. That would have been sick too. But anyway, George Lopez is the uncle, the big uncle in this, right?
Oh.
And so they are like, they go and they make the gangs pay their money, and if they don't pay the money, then they beat them up, they cut them up, strangle them, do all type of crazy stuff in order to get the money. They got to get the money. That's why it's called the tax collector. Well, some stuff ensues. A couple of things go awry, don't go their way, and it ends up being it. It's an eye catcher, so you're gonna watch it, and then you're gonna step away from it for 2 seconds. You're like, "This is horrible," and then you're gonna keep watching it, and then you're gonna step away. You're like, "This is really bad," and then you're gonna keep watching it. So it's like, but you want to see how bad it gets. So that's why it's. I guess it's
It's like
50.
this. It's like a snowball effect. You just want to see how
it
big it can get going downhill.
do you
Yeah, pretty much.
mean like it so bad, like the movie itself is bad, or like the violence and the stuff that happens to in it is bad?
Well, a little bit of both. I mean, the violence is pretty gruesome, but it's also like, so if you got a light stomach, that's not gonna be a good movie for you to go see. But also, like, Shia LaBeouf is he's acting like a cholo, like a Mexican gangster here, and he actually went and got like a tattoo or something like that, like a real tattoo on him. I guess the part got to him that much that he went and he took it there, and he was like, just do it. Just do it. Like somebody told him that, or he must have watched a video of himself saying it, and he went and he did it.
Well, he's like had his teeth knocked out and stuff before films.
Man, wow.
Yeah, no, it's some messed up stuff. That kind of takes us into our topic of the day, which is, it's like, have you ever watched a movie that was so bad that you just loved it? Would this movie fall into that category for you?
I wouldn't call it loved, but it was definitely, because it was so bad. It was good. It was decent. It was just raw and like in your face with everything, and so sometimes that comes across cool, and other times it's not so good. But yeah.
Hmm. Okay, I can get that. Yeah, a lot of movies I find are just quite, but you could tell that they were made with some kind of passion behind it that maybe the people didn't know what doing or they didn't have the budget, but they still put some kind of love and energy. Two of my favorite films that falls into that category is Tommy Wiseau's The Room. Have you ever seen that movie?
Oh no, I haven't.
I've seen bits of it on TV.
Okay. It's in my top 50 favorite films of all time. It is so horrible that it's great. You just love every single bit of it, and the real world stuff behind it is just crazy. The guy who made the movie was he was a cab driver, and he has this real thick European accent, but he claims he's American, claims he grew up in America and everything. And when he decided to make this movie, he was a cab driver. Suddenly, he just pulled like millions of dollars out of nowhere. Fund this movie, and so people think that maybe he was like money laundering and like all this weird stuff behind this movie. Find it, watch it. Another one of my all-time favorites is Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is considered to be one of the world's first, if not the first, independent. It was by a guy named Ed Wood, and it's another one of those travesties that you watch it and it's just like, man, this is, how in the world did this happen? Like, you'll see the boom mics like fall into frame, and some of the act, like there's this one part where this guy goes, "Your mind is stupid, you stupid mind," and then this guy just goes up and smacks him in the middle of the. It's
wow,
it's brilliant. There's vampires and monsters and aliens. Aliens invade by controlling vampires to raise from the dead so that they can take over the world somehow. It is so bizarre, and I love every second of it.
Well, that does remind me of and help me out here if you remember. So the guy that Eddie Murphy just played on Netflix. Dolomite, the Dolomite movie. So like that falls into that category. Like, it's so bad it's good. But yeah, you said the boom mic comes down and stuff.
It's like that. And mine, I would have to say, would be Kung Pao. I don't know if any of y'all saw the movie Kung Pao, but that movie was awful, but it was just pure gold. And I would watch it I will keep watching it. I watch it at least once a year just because it's just that movie. And I'm mad they never made a sequel, because I remember at the end of that movie, they had a whole tie-in to a sequel that they were going to do that just never came to fruition. And it was really upsetting.
I thought it was a serious movie. Like, I went to the movies to go see it, and like I was like, yeah, it's a karate film, so I was all hype about it, and I was like, what? Like he was like,
what is this?
What do you get when you cross an owl with a bungee cord?
My ass.
So I've never seen that movie before. But from my understanding, it's like it's a actual old school kung fu movie, and then they spliced the actor in, right? Is that?
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's an old kung fu movie that they ended up just putting their faces over and then like adding audio to it. I still think to this day like that's like the best photoshopping I've ever seen, because like they got his head on there like perfectly. Like, some of it I think was done on purpose to make look bad, but like for the most part, like they did a pretty decent job splicing, the head over the person's body in the movie.
Yeah, that was a memorable.
So it's not like that Bruce Lee movie. What was it? Game of Death. They just put like the cardboard cutout of Bruce Lee's head. Yeah, Game of Death. Yeah, they put like the cardboard cutout of Bruce Lee's head over the actor in one scene.
And that's the famous one with the yellow suit and the black trim. Like, man.
Yeah.
Yes, they had to finish that movie. They were like, "Listen, we're not about to lose money on our investment. Let's just
yeah, exactly.
Use these angles and use the shadows." That's what they done.
I still really wish they made a sequel to that to Kung Pao.
Yeah. Kung Pao was freaking stupid. Like, that's what Sacha Baron Cohen reminds me of. Like, just dumb stuff like Borat. was just like stupid. And like some people, if somebody hasn't seen it before, it can go one of two ways. Like it depends on who it is. I might tell them like, yeah, you got to go see this movie. Like it's one of the best movies out. You know, you got to go see it. It's like a masterpiece. You know, you won't regret it. It's called Borat, and it's about this guy. He comes to America, and they're like, oh wow, I'm gonna go see that movie. And then it ends up being Borat, what it is.
And in fact, Sasha, if you're listening to this podcast right now, please give us a remake of Kung Pao. I think you would be perfect for that role.
Yeah. Oh man, he'll be like.
What do you think about these movies? What do you think it is that makes these movies great?
How bad they are.
Yeah,
like the humor behind how bad they are most of the time. Usually it's the humorous ones that are really bad that I think, tend to succeed in people's eyes, and kind of hold like for example, Kung Pao was so stupid, but there was so much like dumb humor behind it, that it kind of sits like a lot of my friend groups. That's probably one of their favorite comedies out there is Kung Pao, Yeah,
you just remember all the stuff that goes on. Like it's so crazy that you remember it. Just like even with the tax collector, like it being called the most atrocious viewing experience. What's that going to do? That's going to make people want to see it. I mean, What else do people have to do at the moment? So
bad press is good press.
Yeah, there you go. It gets the word out. That's for sure. So, speaking of things in the press, what's this about the New Mutants there, Matthew?
Oh, okay. So New Mutants is it's a tie-in to the X-Men films. And it got made a few years back, and for whatever reason, reshoots, then the the Fox buyout, all these things kept happening where the movie kept not getting released. And it almost became a joke that it's like, oh yeah, the New Mutants, it's going to be the old mutants by the time it comes out. and it's been a few years now that it keeps getting pushed back. And there's been some rumors, there's been some leaks, there's been some speculation that the movie might have gotten reworked a little bit and is now canon to the MCU. That has not been confirmed by any stretch of the imagination. But there are some people that believe that this might be the first X-Men inside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. However, they're going to release it in theaters in just a few days now. Not that many theaters are open. Why, in the middle of the pandemic, in the middle of August, after all these years of it getting pushed back, are they going to release it now? I have my theories on it, but I want to hear your guys' opinions about that before I say why I think it is.
Well, I know that not completely separate, but like AMC theaters, right? They're selling or going to be, I forget the specific date if they started it yet or not, but they're going to be selling 13-cent like movie tickets and stuff just to get people in, have them spend money, buy popcorn, buy sodas, whatever, right? And one movie that might help get people in is New Mutants. Like people are probably going to be skeptical to go back, but if it's something like, for example, if Batman comes out, for me, it's like, I guess I'm just going to put a helmet on, put a mask on under it, and go to the movie theater.
Walking with a whole hazmat suit.
Right.
Have
but I'm out.
Hidden inside the hazmat suit. So you can put your arms in and just
I don't even have to think, just
inside the mask.
Yeah, so that's what I'm guessing that their plan is.
I think it's stupid on their part, to be completely honest. Like the people who made the movie, just because I'm all for the movie theater experience. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to trash that or tarnish that reputation or whatever. But my thing is, it's like everybody's doing video on demand right now, and some people are charging higher amounts than others. But I would think at this point, we're in a pandemic. At least give the option. Hey, there's going to be a theatrical release, and then maybe a couple days later, there'll be like a week later or something. Bring it to video on demand or something like that. And if it is something that's tied in to, like you said, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that means it has some ties in with Disney. Do what Disney's doing with frickin' with Mulan. charge $30 through Disney Plus to watch it. Boom, there you go. Like you would make your money because it's a movie that is in high demand. No matter, I mean, I'm sure people have like written the movie off by now, but
well, Disney does own it. Disney does own the movie.
Yeah, or they do own the movie because I knew they owned
Yes.
Fox, but I wasn't sure if that movie was technically part of the buyout or if that was going to because it was already in development before the buyout.
No, it is. Yeah, they 100% own it at this point.
Okay, so then put it on freaking Disney Plus. Charge the $30 like you're doing with Mulan. Like I don't see why you wouldn't do it that way, or at least have it in both. Have an option at least for people that want to feel safe. Like I understand movie theaters need to make their money because they're going to go out of business probably soon. But, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of selfish forcing people because you're not going to get as much business as you think you're going to get on the movie. And then at the same time, people aren't going to probably watch it until it hits DVD, Blu-ray, whatever the case, because they don't want to go to the movie theaters to see it. So
videotape,
watch it illegally. I mean,
so my thoughts on it are, so Disney, like I said, they 100% own the movie. It is their movie. They're going to get the profits off of it and everything. However, that doesn't mean they own every release avenue. So they actually can't put it on Disney Plus, which, you'd think, well, they own the movie. Why can't they, right? Because Fox previously had a deal with HBO Max as their exclusive streaming force. So even though Disney owns Fox and they own the movie, they don't own the streaming rights to the movie. It gets really confusing. So if they were going to release it straight to streaming, which they could, it would go on HBO Max, which means they would get some money back from it based on how many views it gets, et cetera, but they wouldn't get any of the subscription costs, which is what, most of the streaming services make their money from. But they also can't, based on the deal that they have made with the movie theaters, they can't put it straight to DVD. They have to have a theater release. So my speculation on why they're doing this now instead of pushing it off again is that they're just going to be like, put it out in theaters. If we make $200 out of it, that's great. Then in 2 months, we can have this big DVD release and have a virtually straight to DVD thing. Now, Disney didn't lose any money off of this because the movie was already pretty much done when it got to them. So they very much just inherited this gold mine. So anything they make off of it is just gravy for them. So I think that they're putting it out in theaters now, so that way in about 2 months they can have a DVD release and sort of have a straight-to-DVD type deal. That's my speculation. What do you guys think about that?
That seems to make sense. And I didn't know about the deal with HBO, or I would have said just, hey, release it on HBO. But I do agree. Like, I think, that's probably what's going to happen is you're going to get the 2 months of it in theaters or even a month of it, maybe 3 months, who knows. And then it's going to go like straight to like a Blu-ray format and probably even streaming, on HBO Max because HBO Max has everything at this point. So why not? Why not get New Mutants?
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. Yeah, I didn't think of it that deep, but yeah.
Jeez, this New Mutants thing is just breaking everybody's mind right now.
right.
Just keeps getting more confusing up until release.
So,
that's its superpower.
Now, speaking of breaking minds and superpowers, we got a hero, right? One of the greatest heroes ever. Nah, higher than that. Batman. So we got the Batman trailer, right? So Ty, you're the one who put us onto this. Give us some insight. What all went down on the Batman trailer? Because I haven't seen it yet.
So right before I mentioned the trailer, I just got to kind of give the backstory to this particular Batman. A lot of people were very critical of this Batman being made because of the person playing Batman, which is Robert Pattinson. If anybody knows who that is, Sparkle Sparkle Vampire from Twilight, that guy.
So not George Clooney?
Not George Clooney, not even Christian Bale. Like I was kind of like, what the hell? But Matt Reeves is directing it, and Matt Reeves, I really enjoy him as a director and writer and screenwriter. I think he's fantastic. He helped make the Cloverfield movie, which is one of my favorite movies. I don't care what anybody says about that movie. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. But I saw the trailer. The trailer yesterday, I believe, released during the DC Fandom, FanCon thing or whatever it was, and it actually looks pretty good. It's definitely got that dark, gritty background, and Robert Pattinson looks like he's freaking killing this role as Bruce Wayne. And so I don't know if you guys heard about the show Gotham PD. But when that comes out, Gotham PD is actually going to be the prequel to this Batman movie. So that's going to be year one of Batman, and then this Batman movie is going to be when Batman's in year 2. So, but it looks like the Riddler is going to be the main enemy for this one. Of course, we have Colin Farrell's Penguin in here too. So Colin Farrell's playing the Penguin, and then I don't know who's playing Riddler because we didn't really get to see who the Riddler was. But it's very obvious by the end of the freaking trailer, you see 2021 come up and the 2s are question marks and they look like the Riddler's question marks. So I'm excited because we haven't had a Riddler since freaking Jim Carrey. Well, not counting the TV show Gotham, which he was really good too. I really liked the person who played Enigma in that.
Yeah, we can't bring back
the Riddler was in the Dark Knight series.
No, he wasn't. Was he?
Yeah, he was. It was a slide in, but the Riddler was in there. He was a hidden thing. Remember that guy who worked for Bruce Wayne and like got his identity and was going to release it to the press? His name was like John Reeves, and so Mr. Reeves.
Oh wow!
He was the Riddler.
I didn't even notice that. That's
crazy. He said, Lucius Fox was like, and you think this man goes around the city beating people up at night in a suit, and this is the one that you want to blackmail?
That's crazy. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Oh man. But back to the movie. I think the movie's going to do well. To be honest, like if you get a chance, definitely take a look at the trailer because the trailer definitely gives you some real like modern like Batman vibes. Like it's got that dark, that grittiness, and Robert Pattinson just doesn't look like a twinkly vampire in this one. So
he's not a dweeb. He's not a dweeb.
No, he looks pissed off most of this movie. Like, to tell you the truth, he looks really angry through most of it. And that's good. And like the bit that I saw of like Penguin, because Colin Farrell's playing Penguin, dude, like he looks like he's gonna be a sick Penguin. Like, because you get a really quick glimpse of him in the rain, like screaming, and you wouldn't even be able to notice it was Colin Farrell. Like they did such a good job with the makeup effects on him. He looks really good too. So I'm actually, me not being a big Batman fan as far as the comics go, I'm really excited for this movie.
Now, does the Riddler in this one, the Colin Farrell Riddler, does that remind you of the Dark Knight games? Like, for example, the ones where you play story? No, not the Arkham Asylum ones, but the what do you call it? The ones where you're playing the story.
The Telltale.
Yeah, the Telltale ones. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, those were set up a little bit differently, but it doesn't. Honestly, to me, it feels like a newer take on Christian Bale's Batman, if anything. Like you definitely can see some hints of where he got inspired from, like Christian Bale in there. Like he's. I didn't have a problem really with Ben Affleck's Batman. It was just the fact that it was Ben Affleck playing Batman, and that's. It wasn't the fact that he did a bad job. It was Ben Affleck. Like
yeah. His name, his name is like Affleck.
It was just weird seeing him do it, but not that he was bad or anything, but it was just weird. But the Robert Pattinson, even though it had that weird factor at first, it definitely, I don't know. All I gotta say is just check out the trailer and you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, it's definitely worth a look, and it's definitely worth going to theaters or whatever it releases on to see it. So.
Well, I give Robert Pattinson some props. I think that I was hoping that it would be something more than what I was initially thinking. Like, and I don't really feel like anybody can get worse than George Clooney. I think George Clooney has that spot for the rest of his life when it comes to playing Batman, and I hope it stays that way.
So I'm going to say something kind of controversial, but this is the reason why I haven't watched the trailer yet. So, I mean, everybody who's watched the show even once will know that I'm a huge Batman fan, huge DC fan in general. I've been noticing lately, and this is where the controversy is, that the DC extended universe fans is kind of the worst fandom out there. So one of my bosses from DC, because I do a lot of background work at DC, and somebody I actually had worked with personally has come under fire recently, and there's been a lot of negative talk about him. I was in a fan group, and I said something, not even a hot take, a very mild take, and I spent the next 6 hours having people message me like, "You need to kill yourself. You're just a fat piece of crap who stays in his basement all the time. You're just the worst things." Oh yeah, that I will never accomplish anything. Just the worst things that people could say to somebody else. I was getting these messages sent to me nearly constantly for about 6 hours until I just eventually removed my comment because I'm like, I don't want somebody else to see this stuff. Not that I cared what they were saying, but it's I don't want somebody else to stumble across this. But because of that, I've been kind of avoiding the DC fandom just because I don't want to be in the chats and have to deal with this kind of stuff. So I'm kind of waiting for a couple of weeks to watch the trailers and all this kind of stuff. Also, that kind of stuff depresses you a little bit. Even if you say it doesn't bother you, it always will depress you a little bit. So, kind of wait for that. But I'm really excited to see the trailer. I'm really excited to see if it looks good. And I got to say, from what you said about it, kind of thinking I'll watch it today, but I might put it off for a few more weeks, 1 or 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
But.
True. I have nothing holding me back. I'm gonna go watch it as soon as I get a chance to. But while we're on the topic of heroes and stuff, so Ty, what are your games together as it pertains to Batman?
So, speaking of Batman, we got 2 new Batman games announced yesterday. The first one, which seems to be the more well-received one, is Gotham Knights, which it looks like we're getting pretty much all the Robins, including Batgirl, in this one. It looks like we're getting Damian Wayne, Dick Grayson, and Jason Todd in this one, alongside I forget her name. Whoever plays Batgirl or Batwoman, I think it's Batgirl. I think that's the younger one.
Barbara.
That might be it. I'm not 100%. Don't quote me on that one, but I just know she has the bat symbol on her thing with the purple suit. I think that's Batgirl. But yeah, that one seemed really interesting from the gameplay that we saw. You get to, it looks like you'll be able to take over one of the 4 people within that group. A lot of people thought it was going to be the Court of Owls game, but it turned out that we were getting an all Robin game pretty much, and I'm totally okay with that. Nightwing is awesome, so is Robin.
Isn't the Court of the Owls the bad guy for that though? Isn't it the Robins are the main characters and the Court of the Owls are the villains, right?
Yes, but I don't think the Court of the Owls are the main villain within this one. I thought a lot of people thought we were just getting a straight Court of Owls game, where you played as, the Court of Owls. But with this one, we're getting all Robins, which they might make hint to it, There could be hints to the Court of Owls within this game, but I don't think they're the main enemy. So it didn't really go too much into it from what I saw trailer-wise. And then we got a Suicide Squad game that's getting released, which it looks like we're getting Harley Quinn, Deadshot, and what's his name? Boomerang, I think it is.
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah, Captain Boomerang and King Shark. So we're getting those 4 characters in it. It was just like a CGI, little teaser trailer. It wasn't really anything crazy, but I'm excited for it. And it would be a good thing that they could go further with, because you could also add other characters into it. Because if anybody who's read any of the Suicide Squad comics, you know that there's multiple people within the Suicide Squad. It's not just those 4 all the time. So that would be something pretty interesting. And both of these games are made by Rocksteady Games, which are the people who made the Arkham games, the Arkham Knight, Arkham Asylum. Those Batman games are absolutely fantastic. If you haven't played those Batman games, you need to. But But yeah, so those are the two games coming out as far as Batman goes. I'm excited because they did say, like, back when Arkham Knight first came out, that they weren't planning on making any more Batman games, but that didn't mean they weren't going to delve into other things within the Batman universe. So I don't know. I'm excited for both of these games. I'm actually more excited, to tell you the truth, for the Suicide Squad game than I am the Gotham Knights game, but that's just because I just want to run around as Harley Quinn and beat people up. But that's just...
So with the Robins game, you said that it has Red Hood, Nightwing, one of the Robins, and Batgirl. You said it was Damian, or is it Tim?
It's not telling me which one. What it tells me here is just Red Hood, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Robin. It looks like the Damian one, but I could be wrong. You know, it is a video game, so they tend to change up the suit sometimes. But from what it looks like on the cover, it looks like Damian's suit, but I could be wrong.
In the same breadth of games and superheroes combined, right? We got Avengers coming up September.
I've actually
4th.
been in the beta with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was that?
It's okay. I'm so far in just playing the beta, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. It's a beta, so it could definitely improve. This plot point seems very legitimate. I think it's a great plot point. You know, Avengers get framed for something that, you know, that they didn't do, and, you know, it's been years later, and they're trying to pretty much reassemble and, you know, pretty much untarnish their reputation and everything like that. But it seems like a lot of the end game quests and stuff like that are just really repetitive quest lines, like side quests. Like as far as the plot point goes, fantastic. I like the plot. I dig it. The combat, fantastic. But anybody who's ever played like Division or Anthem, this is going to kind of give you that kind of vibe, which is very loot based. You know, you find other pieces to help make your superhero stronger. You know, you can get different emblems, suits, yada yada yada. It's very loot based to help power your superhero up, whichever one you choose. Hulk OP is all heck, like I figured he was going to be. And Miss Marvel, or Kamala, she's actually my favorite in the game. I run around with her consistently because she can just do this crazy, like, just face palm stretch as like a super, where she just face palms you like 5 miles down the street. Like, it's insane. Like, her character is absolutely amazing. Black Widow, I hate her character in the game. She does no damage, but I'm probably, don't at me. but I think the game is gonna. Hopefully, it's better at launch as far as the way they handle side quests. But the game itself isn't bad.